Hi everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Cameron Carey, the owner and correctional exercise specialist of Pro-Fit Private Training. Today, with a career spanning 26 years, Pro-Fit and our Upper Highway community bid farewell to Dr. Peter Breedt. Dr. Breedt was taken by COVID, and this is without a doubt the hardest thing I've had to do in my entire career. This is a tribute. This is a celebration. This is a mark of respect for a man whom I'm personally very close to. I've trained Peter and his family for 18 years. I have the utmost respect for that man. He is the penultimate of legends. Today, folks, we bid farewell to a legend for all of us. Now, Peter Breedt, as everybody knows him as Pete, he leaves a wake of unbelievable sadness. Why? Well, it's simple. Peter Breedt, if we talk about his character, him as a man, my gosh, if anybody knew Pete, you would know. He is a man that lives by passion and passion only, which I think is the reason why Pete and I grew so close over so many years. We run parallels together and have done for so long. His passion just drove him to succeed at pretty much anything he set his mind towards. As many of you will know, Pete was highly successful at pretty much every aspect of life that he devoted. If it was medical science, he was outstanding. If it was his creativity, his painting, simply out of this world. If it was his sporting achievements and just his endeavors with regards to what he wanted to drive himself to, nothing stopped Peter Breedt. He is my ultimate legend, and he will be indefinitely. Pete, we love you. Pro-Fit and our community send our sincerest condolences to Rene, Rache, Carra, and Gabs, the entire Breedt family. We offer our sincerest condolences for the loss of this man. A loss, but is it really? What Peter left behind is something that none of us could ever possibly think was even achievable. His love for people absolutely blew me away. His kindness, was far-reaching. His positivity just spread through people. If he spoke to someone, that positivity, basically enveloped people, whether it was a single human being or if it was a group. And he wasn't even trying. He wasn't even trying to do it. That was just him. He had that unique ability to be able to connect with people. So we talk about Peter Breedt as a doctor. Well, knowing Pete for so long, and he is respected in the medical community at large, and there's a primary reason why. Because he is a phenomenal doctor. Phenomenal. Why? Because Peter Breedt, when you went to go see Peter Breedt, you didn't go just to see a doctor. You went to see someone who devoted his time 100% to your issue. So when you walked into his rooms and you sat at his chair, Pete, what would Pete do? He'd get up from out of the chair. He'd come back and sit next to you in the chair next to you. He didn't want to divide. There was no divide between Peter and his patients. I think the greater part of our community can corroborate that and agree that was Peter Breedt. He not only was he super clever like clever's never been. Peter was a man that worked between two organs so impeccably so. He made an impact on people and a community like very few people can. He used his massive mind and his larger than life heart combined to be able to provide something that was unique to Peter Breedt as a doctor. It was something that made that person, when you were with Peter Breedt, you were the only person alive at that time. Peter never cut corners. He wanted time with you. He cared for you. And if there's any aspiring doctors out there, my only suggestion would be mark yourself against this man, because you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. Mark yourself on his work ethic, his level of passion for his work. Mark yourself on his unbelievable caring and kind aura that just basically swallowed you up. When you were talking to Peter Breedt, and hundreds, thousands of people will confirm this, not just Cam sitting here at the desk at Profit. Peter Breedt reached and connected to people like no one I've ever seen. And he wasn't even trying. Why? Because that's who he was. That's who he was. He connected. He made you feel that your issue was the most important issue. Your concern, your pain, your issue was the most important issue at that God-given time. He had time for people across the board. He was remarkable. A man of integrity, a man of high values, a man that very few of us could even possibly reach. I have the utmost respect and will for our legend, not my legend, our legend, Peter Breedt. As a father, as a husband, my gosh, that man would do anything for his family. Those girls were his everything. He made sure that they were secure. He surrounded his family with an immense leadership and compassion that those Breedt girls, look at them today. Nobody can disagree with the fact that that is one incredible, wholesome, genuine, sincere, and kind-loving family, all because of that entire Breedt culture. And that's what Peter brought to environments. He brought culture. He brought that compassion and that love to his business and his practice. And when he connected with anyone on a social basis, Peter as a friend, he had many caps, Peter, but my gosh, he filled every single one of them. As a friend, well, Peter Breedt's friends can testify to this. Peter's got friends, more friends than I know anybody to have. He has friends that are long-standing. He has people that he has managed to connect with that find refuge and are committed to the cause of connection with Peter Breedt. What I'm trying to say is that Peter's friends meant everything to him, as his family would definitely concur. Pete's friends meant everything to him, and nobody could count them. It's just insurmountable, the amount of people and dear friendships dear friendships. We're not just talking acquaintances. We're talking dear friendships. Why? Because of his unbelievable passion for people. And that's what sets him aside. As a friend, he was committed. He would be there no matter what. You could get hold of Pete no matter what. As a businessman and doctor, well, we've touched on that. Clever, creative. But that creativity of Peter led him to be able to conquer so many aspirations, so many ideas. And those ideas were never self-fulfilling. Those ideas and aspirations involved bringing people together, which is what I loved about about Peter. His ability to bring people together, to create that culture of prosperity, that culture of happiness, that culture of, I love this space. This is what it's about. I love it. I want to be next to this guy. Why? Because he makes me feel good. And that's what our Peter Breedt did. He made people feel good. And he had that golden touch. It's a touch that you can't study. It's a touch that you can't pick up in a medical journal. It's a touch that you can't derive out of a book. It's a touch that comes from within. That man was bigger than life across the board. Sitting here on the 22nd of February, sorry, I have to look at my watch. Today, Peter passed at 1 o'clock today. And he passed peacefully, and Peter left behind a legacy. That legacy is one that I hardly even need to talk of. It's like, if you've ever seen Armageddon, if I remember Armageddon, it was a few years back, you have that big cloud that just enveloped the city. It was a national disaster. I can't remember if it was aliens or if it was just bad weather. Peter had this, and he had this blanket. He never even knew he had it. It spread. That golden touch touched more people than I've ever seen a human being touch. His legacy lives on through his unbelievable family, his loving girls, his beautiful wife, Rene, who is just one unbelievable human being. Rene Breedt, we love you, the whole family. Prophet, yes. Prophet is devastated. I personally am gutted. I don't believe Pete should have left now. We had a lot more to do together. But this was to be his time. And all I can say, out of love and respect, that man was far-reaching. His legacy, well, you know what, that is going to go on forever. People are going to be talking about this man forever. Why? They should. His friends, his colleagues, his family. We have been privileged, more than privileged, to have time with a man that touched our very souls. And he didn't even know he was doing it. He just did it. Magic touch. My man with a magic touch. His legacy, as far as Prophet is concerned, will continue forever. As long as I breathe air, as long as I'm around, Peter Breedt fills my space. When Peter, talking about Peter and Prophet and me, well, yes, 18 years of the most incredible relationship. This man was the closest man to me, personally. I've shed more tears than I can remember. I will miss this man forever. He was the captain of the Legends team. You get legends, and you get Peter Breedt. Pete he walked the journey with hundreds, thousands of people. He walked their journey like it was their only journey. But his journey with me, his journey with Prophet, I have never and will never be able to explain to a screen, to everyone out there that listens to this. I will never be able to explain to you the impact that this man has had to me as an individual, to this business at large, and to the entire beautiful and committed community of Prophet. We were fortunate and far more than privileged to have this man share his time with us. Peter enriched all of us. Peter enriched me. Peter enriched you. Peter's magic touch made someone's day unbelievable. And it didn't matter who you were. You could be the car guard outside. You could be a successful businessman. It's what I loved about him. It didn't matter. Everyone mattered. He would come around his desk at his practice, and he wants to sit with you and he wants to talk with you. Peter wasn't interested in shaking hands. For those of you that knew him, Peter's going to come and hug you, man. Don't give me this handshake. Come here. He'd give you a bear hug like he's squeezing the life out of you. And I wish I could have that a hug from that man again. The captain of the Legends team. This is the ultimate testament to a man whom we need to pay honor to. Every single person needs to honor this man. Anyone that knows Peter needs to honor him, because my God, he honored us more than anyone could even believe. If Pete was tired, he had time for you. He never complained. He never spoke badly about anyone. He was committed to his family, his friends. He was committed. You don't get commitment like that. That was commitment. Wow. Peter was committed to his friendship with me, and due to our journey together, Peter Breedt and myself, given my career, we shared plenty together. I will, in due course, put together a collage to the best of my ability to show you some of Peter's moments at Prophet. I don't even think it'll fulfill how much he actually did here. He did everywhere. Peter did a ton with me personally. He was an incredible client. He was an incredible friend. He was a beautiful human being, and he will be forever. We did the warrior together. We've trained together. We've laughed together. We've cried together, as he has done with so many of you out there. So many. I've shared more experiences with Peter Breedt, and I am blessed, I am privileged to have shared every single one of them. And I would have them over right from the beginning through to now. If I could, I'd repeat it all. Repeat, no pun intended. I'd repeat it all. And again, and again. I'll put it on playback. Why? Because I love him like all of you love him. I hope that this tribute that I'm putting in front of you, which pretty much just comes from my heart, unprepared, and I hope for some of you, you're able to find common ground with what I've said. There's going to be hundreds of you, if not thousands, that can align with so many things that I've said. And I could talk all night. And he deserves me to talk forever. But all I can say is that man filled all spaces. Didn't matter the shape. Didn't matter the person. Didn't matter the culture. Didn't matter their background. It didn't matter their religion. He filled their space. And I loved him for that. We all loved him for that. That is a man amongst men. If we are to model ourselves as a father, aim for that. As a doctor, my God, aim for that. As a friend, shoot for that. You can't go wrong. As a family man, I can't say more. Devoted beyond anything. Peter was an ideas man. He was creative. He had way more coming out of his head than we ever knew. But they all involved people. They all involved enriching people. They all involved us. Peter's experiences with me were incredible. I've touched on a few of them, from training to some social experiences. We've cried together, we've laughed, we've done it all. We've done it all. And so many of you have shared those experiences and more with this beautiful human being. We have lost the most remarkable human being I've ever come across. And we need to honor him. For those of you that watch this video, I ask you, please, if you can, not for me, not for the benefit of profit, whatever platform this comes onto, and it reaches someone, comment. Say something about your experience relating to Peter Breedt. If you're part of the Pro-Fit family, we've got a massive community. We're very privileged. We have the most incredible community. And Peter was a leader amongst all of us. He led from the front, and he never looked back. He led all the way. And as you know, Peter was a fighter. He was a fighter amongst COVID. He was going to fight COVID right to his last breath. He was going to fight. There's no ways he was never going to stop fighting. We know who he was. Why? He was larger. His heart was larger than a lion. It's impossible. It's impossible to even fathom the size of that passion. Which is the reason why myself and Pete, we pretty much ran along parallels on so many aspects. And we just gelled from all those perspectives. And I became a better person for knowing that man for 18 years. I became a better Cameron. I became enriched by the fact that that guy touched my soul like he did so many people. For all of us, we're going to miss him terribly. This is, without a doubt, the hardest thing I've had to do. I am finding it hugely difficult to keep it together. I hope that for those of you that are within our community, jump into this. Share your passion, share your thoughts, share anything you want. Comment on what Peter meant to you, how he touched you, whatever it is, feel free. But it's time to pay tribute to the most amazing man I've ever come to know. I have a hole inside that will not be filled. It cannot be filled because, my gosh, Pete took up space. He was a big guy from that perspective, but he wasn't a big guy. He filled space. And his love was just like a waterfall. It just permeated, spread, and just hit every single one of us. He had the most contagious laugh. If Peter laughed, he laughed from here. Why? Because it was all here. If Peter was overjoyed, you knew it. If Peter loved you, he knew it. If Peter was proud of you, you knew it. He told you. He displayed emotion like an absolute warrior. The ability for that man to be able to project and have so many tools of emotions. He didn't even know he was doing it. He just picked up a tool, connected with you, connected with you, connected with you, connected with you. How many tools is that? That's a bigger toolbox than most. My gosh, that's respect. For my entire Pro-Fit community, from our entire Pro-Fit community, again, we send our condolences to the beautiful Breedt family. Rene, we're so sorry. We can't express enough of how much that man meant to absolutely every single one of us inside this space and far-reaching. We love you guys. We will love Pete forever. And he's a legend amongst legends. My captain. Love you, Pete.